Okay, so you could use yellow green, or you could use blue green for the leaves. But basically it is like one longer stem and lots of smaller, shorter leaves. Leading up to the plant. So I'm using like yellow, green. I might put a little blue in there. And as you go up the plant, the leaves get shorter, but they are like more clustered together. And they all come obviously from the stem. Bottom ones are longer, wider than the top ones. And this is where your lavender will go. So I'm going to make it longer there. And then lavender is in bunches. So just like with all the plants, if you decide to do these plants, you will be painting many of them. I'm just showing you how to do each one. All right, so that's how to start. Okay. Okay, now you want to start making the flowery part, and you're going to utilize the brush shape, because you're just going to like come off of the stem and make these little pressure brush down a little and up, down a little and up, and just like cluster all these bunches of brush shapes. Recharge your paint, and you're using tea consistency violet color. We're going to darken it later. We're going to darken some of them, but right now we just want the light part. And we're going to extend it out just a little bit. Remember, it's very uneven. Nothing is the same. Recharge. Remember, recharge means just to get more paint on your brush. All right, so it's like kind of like that. Everything's like clustered together in a bunch. And then oftentimes with lavender, you'll have like these little stray ones down here. Just little ones, but they're all like in this little bunch. That's a good word for lavender, bunch. In the middle, I make it a little bit thicker, like wider. And then as it gets to the top, it tapers off. And you'll see how I'm overlapping. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, so we follow the same routine for all the flowers, and basically now we're adding some darker areas. We will do the buds, and then in the center you want to go a little darker. And what I did was I mixed up a little bit more blue in my violet color, and I'm just adding some other ones using the same method, and I'm using a coffee consistency, which means a little less water. You have to make sure each layer you do is on top of a dry layer, because if you're doing it on top of a wet layer, you'll probably have to do the whole thing over. It'll make a mess. Again, we are just oops, you see how that one bled together? We are, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, just basically keeping it in the center. And if I wanted to go in here and do other ones overlapping, I'd probably wait for these to dry, because they would just bleed just like that one that you saw bleed together. So I would wait. Watercolor is a medium where you need patience. Okay, so yeah, that's that. And while you're waiting for that to dry, you could add some darker areas on the leaves, which is just mixing up some yellow, some green, some orange. If you use blue-green, Then you could just mix up blue and green and just make it like a darker consistency. Same thing with the yellow, green, and orange. Coffee or tea, cream consistency. I like to put orange in there. Okay, so I'm mixing that up. I feel like there's a little, I need a little blue. Okay. So I'm gonna do, this time I'm gonna do one side of my leaf, so you could save the many ways that you could add shadow. Oops, I kind of just messed that up a little. And then so this is not the same as outlining. This is just adding a darker value to the leaves. And then later, the last thing you do is outline to finish the piece off. Okay, so I wouldn't suggest you guys do all the leaves at once like I just did. Do a few at a time and then fuzz. I'm just doing it because I'm getting tired. I did all these flowers just today. And I'm getting a little tired here. So I'm just going to fuzz. Clean my brush again. Dry it. Clean my brush. Dry it. I'm actually using my bigger brush to be my fuzzy brush this time. Really could use anything as long as you do the same, the cleaning and the drying. To use any brush to fuzz. I just like to use two because it's easier. Just getting rid of my, what do you call it? The hard edges. And then I'm going up this way. These still aren't dry, so I'm not gonna go up too far. Again, you want to keep building. If you don't feel that that's dark enough, keep on building, but wait till each layer dries. All right, last layer of dark for our flower part. And I mixed some violet, some red, some blue. Just made sure that it was real dark. All right, so I'm just gonna put that right in the middle. So this, about like this color. There it is, like that. And I'm going to go in the center and just overlap some more little petals. Again, I'm making new petals, just a darker color. And it just builds up the depth of the flower when you add different values. And I'm being careful not to overlap. If I want to overlap with darker color, I will do it when it dries again. And as you can see, I went over the leaves a little bit more with another layer. You can definitely add more, but you just have to wait for it to dry. And the last step is we're going to outline, but this time we're going to do it with colored pencils. Okay, so if you want, you could add these little orange spots that are supposed to represent little buds, like little tiny things. And it just adds a really nice color to the lavender plant. Forgot about that. It doesn't have to be. And then what you would probably do is like, they have little, it's a really a white color. Buds here, you can just kind of just paint those in, kind of like their little buds. I don't know, it just makes it look, yeah, the more you add to it, the better it looks. Some of these leaves are still wet, so I'm being careful not to go over them.
Beautiful.